What's up and welcome back to another video. Guys, today I'm going to be reviewing set 75353, the Endor Speeder Chase. Now this set released in 2023 for $80 and it has 608 pieces, and this is a part of the Diorama series, being an 18 plus set. And well, that $80 price point may be pretty outrageous for this set, but I guess we'll talk about the pricing a little bit later in this video. So without further ado, let's get right on into this review. Now, normally I would not look at the directions at all, but given that this is an 18 plus set, there are some nice little details in the direction manual right here. So if you want to take a look, I will let you guys pause and you can read that. And there is also another page right here where you get some of the cool concept art, which I think is actually pretty cool, and some other different details and stuff from the movie. And, you know, some other stuff like chasing the details and other stuff about how they put this build together. But let's move on to the actual build of this set. Now, I have to say right off the bat, this build is a little bit underwhelming in my opinion, especially for $80. I don't think it's a bad build. I think some of the highlights are definitely the trees. I think the trees are done very well. I will say at first, looking at the box and other stuff like that, I thought the trees were not going to be very good because obviously LEGO can't do a full tree in a set like this, but I do think the little cutoff way that they did end up doing it is pretty good. You have like the small chopped area at the top as well, which does look, it looks okay in my opinion, but I think the big issue here is the open pathway right here with all of the studs. This is a diorama set, and in my opinion, a diorama set's supposed to be clean, it's supposed to be nice. It's an 18 plus set for adult collectors, so I think it should look as nice as possible, and I just don't think that these studs look very nice. I will say I think the foliage is done pretty well all around. It's packed up pretty well, the color match is nice, and you can tell that it's Endor. It looks nice. I would have liked a little bit more foliage, but overall I think it is done pretty good. And I'll say the shapeway of the path is also pretty nice. It's just all of the exposed studs do not look so good in my opinion. And then other than that, I think the detailing on the trees on the backside, I know you're not really looking at the backside, but it just does not look good on this side. I know they put all of their focus and pieces on the front side because this is what you're seeing, and I will say the front of the trees do look pretty good in my opinion. I would have liked maybe a little bit more texturing and details on them, but for the most part, I will say that they do look pretty good. Moving on to the actual border, it's just your basic border in all of the diorama sets, but this one, you know, all printing, no stickers in this, which is a nice plus. You have the little Lego Star Wars tile right there, and then we have quick jam their comlink center switch from Luke Skywalker. That is the quote that was used on this set, and the 40 years of Return of the Jedi brick right there, which is also a very nice printed piece. But that does kind of do it for this build. I will say, you know, I guess, you know, what do you really expect? It's just a cutout from the scene, but there's not too much going on here other than the speeders. But I want to take a closer look at the speeders as well as the minifigures once they are taken out of the diorama. Now, I would have to argue that the weakest point of this set is the minifigures. You get 3 minifigures in this $80 set, which isn't my actual issue. I think 3 minifigs is the fine amount for this set. I just think that they are pretty underwhelming. You get Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, as well as a Imperial Scout Trooper. But let's take a closer look at these minifigures. Now, the first minifigure that we're taking a look at is Princess Leia, and I mean, she looks okay. I just think in an $80 set, there's so much more to be desired with this figure, especially looking back at the Endor version of Leia that we got in the Imperial Shuttle back in 2016, I believe. I think it was just such a better minifigure, especially with that poncho. I think for an $80 set, I think both of our characters, Luke and Leia, should have had their ponchos and not this ugly print variation of it. It would have looked so much better, and it would have added so much to this set. Not to mention, I think they both did deserve to have dual molded legs. I think that also would have looked a lot better, but I mean, I guess you can't really get those. I just think it would have elevated them a lot more, which leaves us with a pretty basic and boring minifigure in my opinion. The print on the front of the torso isn't bad. The belt is pretty well done as well, with the print going down to the legs, which I do like, as well as the little fake poncho printing going to the legs as well with that camo pattern, and then the legs kind of just go to a plain olive green, as well as the arms having no print or detail on them at all. And coming to the back, you have that same little poncho print on the back. It just doesn't really look good in my opinion. I think there's so much room for improvement on this minifigure, and you know, with that basic, you know, normal Endor helmet, which is pretty good. It's the same one that we got in the past. And then as for your faces, you have more of an angry face on the front, and then you have a smile on the back. Overall, kind of disappointed in this minifigure. I think there was a lot of room for LEGO to make this a very good minifigure, and I just don't think that they delivered. Our next minifigure is Luke, and I would argue that he is better than Leia, but I think he still shares some of these same flaws. I think the poncho would have looked great. I think it would have added so much to this minifigure, but I do think that the detailing on his torso is a little bit better with all of the different lines and folds, and I just think the camo pattern is done a little bit better on him as well. But once again, the dual molded legs, why are we getting this weird black print in the middle when we could have just gotten dual molded legs? It would have looked so good, and I think it would have made this such a better minifigure. And then we have those same hints of just plain olive green on the legs and the arms and the sides, and coming to the back, it's just the same printing and boring old legs, which would have been fixed if this was dual molded. It would have gone all the way around on the back, and it would have looked a lot better. And we have the same little helmet right there, and then we have his two faces being this more just blank look, as well as a little bit of a smile right there. But I'd have to say the same thing about Leia. I think this could have been such a good minifigure, just I don't think Lego really put all of their effort into the minifigs on this, because they are pretty lackluster. Our last minifigure, and sadly the best minifigure in this set, is the Scout Trooper, the same old one that we get. I mean, definitely the most accurate and most detailed one out of these three minifigures. Some nice leg printing, but pretty much just the same that we get as all of our other Scout Troopers. And, you know, I think the helmet does look good on this newer version. And then coming off for the head, you just have your plain little generic dude under there. Overall, a nice one. You have that dual molded helmet as well. A pretty fine minifigure. It's just kind of the same that we get in all of the other sets. I'm just kind of disappointed in the other two minifigs that we got, because I think this could have been so much better if Luke and Leia were just done a little bit more carefully and had some more thought and detail put into them. Now looking at the two speeders that we get in this set, I think the first thing you're probably noticing right now, they don't really sit like normal speeders. They are laid back and they point up into the air. Kind of funny. I just wish that, you know, they were able to kind of sit flat, but they're not able to. But I guess that's fine, because they are going to be on the stands on display, so it doesn't really matter that much. It's just something that I would have liked. But taking a look a little bit closer, they are not the same. Actually, they are pretty similar. It's just this one has the small seat in the back for Luke to sit in. I'll put the minifigs in just a little bit, but they do share very similar builds, pretty much the same. And I think the speeders themselves do look pretty good. There's some very nice detail on them. I like the little kind of pillow part in the back with the tan, and there's some nice detailing on the back as well. I like the use of the little cleavers. I think that looks nice. And there's also some illegal building techniques for the foot pedal right there. It just uses this little black tile put into this little droid arm clip, and it works really well. It's just a little bit illegal, you know how Lego is about that, and they do kind of pop out easily, so you have to be careful with that. But it's not like you're really playing with these, so it shouldn't matter too much. And then looking to the front, I think the front looks a little bit goofy. I think it could have looked just a little bit better with a little bit, I don't know, different part usage. I don't know what I would have done there. It just looks a little bit odd, but overall I think these speeders are done very nice, and they do fit into the build very well. But let's go taking one last overview of this set. Now, I do have to say this is a pretty aesthetically pleasing set, except for the little pathway that we were talking about earlier, but I don't really think that that takes away too much. And one thing I forgot to mention about the speeders when putting them back, it is pretty hard to get the minifigs on them to sit properly and look right. I thought that was just something that I should note, but overall, I do think it's a pretty solid diorama. I think the speeder chase is pretty cool. You know, it's one of a very good scene from the movie, so I'm happy that they did make it into a diorama, and I think it was a good idea. I just think it was executed pretty poorly in the ways that we were talking about earlier, and I don't think that this is a bad set at all. I do think there's definitely some really cool things. I think the overall look of it is nice. I think the speeder builds are good, and I mean, I just think the big issue here is that $80 price tag. This set is not worth $80. I would don't buy it for $80. I got this luckily on sale for like $53, and I think even then it's pushing it. I think this set maybe worth. I think at $50, I think it's an okay value. I think the big fall points on here though are the minifigures. If this had better minifigures, I think it would be a very good set, and people would have liked it a lot more, because I think that the builds are very solid. I think it's a very iconic scene, and I do think that the trees and just the overall displayability of this set are very good and have the ability to carry it to be a better set. It's just the minifigures don't really have any draw to them, and it's not like they're very rare or exclusive minifigures either. I know that that's something that Lego kind of tends to stray away from, and I mean, I guess they kind of have a different story every time that they talk about it, but it could have been cool if these minifigures were just a bit more detailed and had a bit more draw to draw people in to buy this set, especially for $80. I just don't think that you are getting your value here. Now, there are some cool parts. I think some of the printed pieces are very nice as well, but overall, I don't think that this set is for me, and I don't think that you should buy it unless you can find it on sale for a crazy discount. But that is going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching, and let me know your thoughts on this set and also your thoughts on the Diorama series as a whole, because I do think that the Diorama sets are pretty good, and I'm very sad to see them go in 2025. But let me know if you own this set, if you plan on getting this set. Make sure that you wait to find it on sale. It is pretty easy and frequent to find on sale right now, especially right after Christmas. It's very on sale in a bunch of different places. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe. Drew signing out.